Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 fourth wall breaks in video games.
There's something disturbingly familiar about the letter before me. The handwriting was all pretty curves.
You're in a computer game, Max.
For this list, we'll be looking at instances where characters were aware they were in games or referenced the actions of the player. As we'll be talking about general plot lines, we're issuing a spoiler warning. Which fourth wall break took you by surprise? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 20. This isn't a game. Jak 3.
Even you cannot save us from this, hero.
The Jak and Daxter series definitely got more serious as it went along, but it still showed it knew how to have fun. The third entry picks up on the duo a year after being banished to a dangerous wasteland. Additionally, with Haven City under attack by the villainous metalheads and the Dark Makers about to reach Earth, the situation is pretty dire. Seam, leader of the Precursor Monks, tries to convey how grave matters are in a delightful fourth wall breaking moment.
You may carry the color of our creator's animal, but we have plans to save ourselves. Stay out of our business.
Upon meeting her a second time, Jak makes a snarky remark, to which Seam replies,
"This isn't a game."
Jak and Daxter's confused look into the camera always makes us chuckle. Number 19. Dr. Ned breaks the credits. Borderlands.
You smell like popcorn. Now I'm pissed.
The Borderlands franchise has some of the wackiest, wildest characters of any FPS. In the first game's DLC, The Zombie Island of Dr. Ned, players are tasked with stopping the mad scientist who created an undead army out of the workers he was meant to be treating. When you catch up with him, putting him down only takes a matter of moments. The credits then begin to roll. We remember thinking, that's it? But no, it wasn't. Dr. Ned, now undead, tore through the credits and revealed that the fight wasn't over yet.
It's not over yet.
The zany moment certainly fits with Borderlands' sense of humor, and we were treated to a proper boss fight as Undead Ned took a lot more bullets to go down. Number 18. Speaking of credits, Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. Sonic Chronicles for the DS differentiates itself from the wider Sonic series by placing the Hedgehog in an RPG. For the most part, that transition was handled pretty well by developer BioWare. The game ends on a cliffhanger, setting up a sequel that would never come as BioWare was bought by EA not long after release. However, that's not the only interesting aspect about the ending. After the climax, we see a conversation between Tails and Sonic. Not only do they both reference the fact that they're in a game, but they also discuss the people who made it. Instead of rolling credits, the two tell us all the key players conversationally. Number 17. Mr. Resetti, Animal Crossing. Forgetting to save was one of our biggest gaming fears before autosaving was a thing. In Animal Crossing, we were scared of it for a second reason: Mr. Resetti. If you ever quit the game without saving, you'd be met with this incredibly irate mole the next time you played. You'd then be forced to sit there as he disciplined and sometimes yelled directly at you for not saving. If you're bad enough, he might actually prank you into thinking he's resetting the game and the entirety of your progress. Newer entries have obviously had less need for him. It's still fun to see him pop up, and his long-winded lectures have definitely left a mark on gaming. Number 16. The Shower Scene, Tomb Raider 2. Almost immediately after the first Tomb Raider hit store shelves, a rumor began to spread about a cheat code players could enter to play as nude Lara Croft. There was never any truth to it, but it was popular enough that it caught the attention of the game's developer, Core Design. And so, they thought they'd have a little fun with it. At the end of Laura's second adventure, she prepares to disrobe for a shower. But before she does, she turns to the camera to say,
"Don't you think you've seen enough?"
and promptly blasts the player with a shotgun. Pervy players everywhere may have thought their dreams were coming true, and that makes the ending all the sweeter. Number 15. More than roleplay. South Park, The Stick of Truth.
Clyde, you have to wait your turn. That's lame. No, Clyde, it's like olden times. You have to wait your turn, like in the Middle Ages, Clyde.
There are plenty of games that break the fourth wall by using clever lines of dialogue to teach you the mechanics. South Park, The Stick of Truth is overflowing with these moments. The story puts players in the shoes of the new kid in town as he's pulled into a make-believe fantasy war that actually grows to be pretty fantastical. The writing was praised for being just as absurdly comedic as its source material. Almost every single line is a reference to the fact that you're playing a turn-based RPG, from a joke about PowerPoints being PP for short to characters hoping they level up. The game was surprisingly solid, but having characters reference it just made everything better.
I want you to go out into the neighborhood and find my greatest warriors, Token, Tweak, and Craig. I'm texting their pictures to your personal inventory device now.
Number 14. Quirky dialogue. Kid Icarus, Uprising.
So what you're saying is we need a brave hero to face the Dark Lord?
I suppose it is an old story.
With only 2 previous games on retro platforms, Nintendo had a lot of breathing room for characterization when it came to bringing Pit into the modern era. And it chose to reinvent the hero as a quirky, fourth-wall-breaking jokester.
That's just a loose translation.
Oh man, not the space plank.
Throughout this 3DS adventure, Pit will constantly make jokes about being inside a video game, whether he's talking about the mechanics, the status of his foes, or the enemy designs, such as the Kometo, who highly resemble Metroids. It even has fake-out credits begin to roll before Hades interrupts them. The game itself is a blast to play, but having the main character be so self-referential just made it more of a joy.
No, Pit 2, as in Pit 2, as in Dark Pit. Pretty great nickname I came up with, huh?
But not as great as Patooey, right? Right? Anyway.
Number 13. Resetting your Genesis. X-Men. A lot of older games are understandably thought of as incredibly difficult due to tough mechanics or obtuse solutions that many of us would never think of. In the 1993 X-Men game for Sega Genesis, one level's ending left players scratching their heads. At the end of the level Mojo's Crunch, you're instructed to restart a computer. Only, there's no switch or buttons, so you actually can't. Or at least your character can't. What you're meant to do is reset your Genesis, but only a soft reset, as pressing the button for too long will cause an actual reset and your progress will be lost. It was a massive fourth wall break for the time, though we probably would have preferred an in-game button. Number 12. The Manual Secret Code. StarTropics. This NES action-adventure game follows Mike, a teenager exploring fantastical islands in search of his uncle who has been kidnapped by aliens. Packaged with the game's manual was a letter that set up the game's story, an invitation from Mike's uncle to visit him on vacation. However, this letter also held a secret message. At a certain point in the game, Mike would be instructed to dunk this letter in water. Doing so in real life would reveal the message, which featured a code necessary to progress further. That's some literal outside-of-the-box thinking and one of the cooler uses of a manual we've ever heard of. Future digital releases of the game would have to work around the absence of this letter. Number 11. Deleting Characters. Doki Doki Literature Club. Presented as a harmless dating sim, Doki Doki Literature Club has the player chatting up different anime schoolgirls to earn their affection. Midway through, the plot changes drastically after the character Sayori hangs herself. The game ends and restarts with Sayori completely absent. Bugs and glitches appear throughout, and after another character takes their life, the club's leader Monica restarts the game again and removes the rest of the characters. As As it turns out, Monica has become self-aware and is a bit bummed about being the only non-romanceable option. She's in love with you, not the character, but actually you, and she'll keep you in a void until you go into the game's files and delete her, finishing the game. Number 10. In a computer game, Max Payne.
Who's there? Max? Max, is that you? Max?
Remedy's Max Payne is quite the trippy game, and we aren't just referring to the bullet time mechanics. It follows the detective as he simultaneously tries to solve his family's murder and tracks a new drug called Valkyr. At a certain point, Max will find himself on this drug, which leads to some pretty interesting effects. Imagining himself inside the house his family was killed in, Max will find a burning room. A letter tells him he's in a graphic novel, a clever joke at how most of the story is told through comic book panels.
There was something disturbingly familiar about the letter before me. The handwriting was all pretty curves.
You're in a computer game, Max.
However, a second interaction would tell Max he's in a computer game, making reference to someone controlling Max and the aforementioned bullet time mechanic.
Endless repetition of the act of shooting, time slowing down to show off my moves, the paranoid feel of someone controlling my every step.
Number 9. Different game endings. The Stanley Parable.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it.
The Stanley Parable is one giant fourth-wall-breaking message about player choice in video games. But it reaches peak self-referential humor throughout its multiple endings, particularly in one that places Stanley inside other games. In this ending, the narrator tasks Stanley with completing a button-pressing game he designed. If you refuse, he'll get fed up and open Minecraft.
At last, the one thing you've always desired, a game I had absolutely nothing to do with.
Wanting something more linear, he'll then place Stanley inside Portal before abandoning him there. In the Ultra Deluxe version, Minecraft is replaced by Firewatch, while Portal is replaced by Rocket League. It's a surprising outcome that not only shatters the fourth wall, but does so in hilarious fashion.
Are you having fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over.
Number 8. The Developer Hotline. Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge.
Remember, kids, if you're under 18, ask your parents before calling.
Not many games will let you actually converse with someone who made it, which is one of the reasons why the fourth wall break in Monkey Island 2 is so great. When Guybrush is lost on Dinky Island, he'll come across a telephone on the side of a tree. The phone connects you to the Lucasfilm Games hint line, which actually doesn't give you any hints at all.
It's been out for some time now. Where have you been? Playing some frustrating graphic adventure?
The operator will be comedically rude to Guybrush, especially if you ask them about the infamous stump joke from the first game. You can also annoy them with silly questions like, where do babies come from, and why do adventure games cost so much?
Hey, I just work here.
Number 7. Praying for Victory. Earthbound. Gygus, the final boss in Earthbound, is one of the most interesting antagonists in a Nintendo game. It isn't just his twisted appearance or creepy music that makes him unique, but also the fact that the characters must pray in order to defeat him. Long before you reach Gygus, you'll receive a phone call from Tony asking for your name. During the battle with Gygus, Paula will have the idea to pray to everyone they've met across the adventure, and since you already entered your name into the game, she will also pray to you. Gygus' weakness is human emotions, and the combined prayers of the team, NPCs, and you are what defeats him. Number 6. Flowey, Undertale. Flowey from Undertale may not look it, but he is one devious villain. He takes sadistic glee in the misfortune of others and tries to outright murder you the first time you meet him. However, what makes him most interesting is his awareness of the player's actions. If you kill the first boss, Toriel, and restart the game feeling bad about it, Flowey will call you out on it. In fact, most times you restart the game, Flowey will make a comment. He breaks the fourth wall in several ways during the finale, beginning the battle by crashing your game and forcing you to reopen it. Having Flowey reach out past the screen to speak directly to us undeniably made him an engaging villain. Number 5. Locked Up, Conker's Bad Fur Day. How do you end a game as wild, vulgar, and unique as Conker's Bad Fur Day? With a fourth wall break, of course. As the fight against the final boss looks lost, Conker is surprised to find the game locks up as he's moments from death. He then knocks on the screen, poking fun at the developers for such a mishap.
Hello? If there are any software engineers that can hear me, just, type something in. Alright, yeah, hello.
The developers agree to aid him in his fight as long as he doesn't tell anyone about the mistake. With access to any weapon imaginable, Conker chooses a katana and slices the alien's head off. Conker speaks directly to the player throughout the adventure, but this moment was a fourth wall break on another level.
Well, I suppose that's it.
Number 4. The entire game, Deadpool.
Let's make a video game.
See? Once again, our explosive personality wins the day. High five!
No high fives, we're voices in our head.
With the signature ability of being aware he's a comic book character, any game with Deadpool is bound to have some clever fourth wall breaks. We're particularly fond of his hyper combo in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 that uses his health bar and special meter as weapons. However, there's really no topping an entire game's worth of these shenanigans. His solo adventure hits the ground running with his own pitch for a game being rejected.
Deadpool is contracted to kill media mogul Chance White, who is blah blah blah-diddy blah blah. Don't need that. Edit that.
It features the Merc with a Mouth rewriting the game's script, phone calls with the development studio and his voice actor, and frequent chats with his narrator. The whole game is one gigantic meta ride. Considering the character's nature, we wouldn't have it any other way.
Wade, that wasn't...
Seriously, roll credits. We're done here.
Number 3. Scarecrow's Mind Game, Batman Arkham Asylum. The Scarecrow sequences in Arkham Asylum provide some of the best moments of the game. However, the one that comes out of nowhere, smashing through the fourth wall in the process, is the absolute best one. While Batman tries to concoct an antidote for the Titan formula, the game appears to freeze with static spreading across the screen and distorted Joker laughter before it cuts to black. It legitimately seemed like the game broke before the opening sequence replayed with Batman and Joker's positions swapped. The sequence ends with Joker shooting Batman and a tip on the loading screen advising you to use the middle stick to dodge his gunfire. That fear toxin is one hell of a drug. Number 2. Sanity Effects, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. Eternal Darkness is a wholly unique survival horror game, and it's the game's tendency to break the fourth wall that has made it a cult classic. Set across 4 different time periods, it has you control different characters dealing with a cosmic evil. The game's most unique feature is its sanity meter. If it gets too low, you'll experience some disturbing side effects. Some of these will be in-game only, like your character's head falling off. Others will mess with you, like lowering the volume, making you think your save data has been deleted, disconnected controller errors, and a now famous blue screen of death. Now that is real terror. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Psycho Mantis, Metal Gear Solid.
Useless woman.
Optic camouflage, huh? I hope that's not your only trick.
The amount of fourth wall breaks in the Metal Gear Solid series could make up its own list, which we actually made over on Mojo Plays. But the most monumental instance within the series and all the video games comes with the Psycho Mantis battle. This villain famously toys with the minds of players by having their controller randomly vibrate, taunting your game preferences by reading your memory card, and making you think he's changed the channel on your TV. To even defeat him, you must plug your controller into a different port. It isn't just a fourth wall break, it's an active inclusion of the player into the fight. It's honestly remarkable that Hideo Kojima was able to think of it.
The demonstration is over.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.